Right, we're back to paint our little lake scene. So to do some reflections and just showing you how to really just to paint water. And this beautiful town in the Lake District called Blea Tarn. We've got the trees, which are just nice and loose. This is all what this is about, just nice and loose paintings. It's not a photograph, so it doesn't have to be exact. It's a painting, so it wants to look like a painting and have a bit of a feeling and things. So, few little tips along the way. This is my palette from yesterday. Well, it's actually yesterday. And what I tend to do is I use one of these, a little thing that I think I bought from Boots, a little water spray, and I just refresh the paints. So I give them all a little spritz. And there we go. We've got our paints all ready. This is from yesterday. So we're using the same sort of palette of colours. So we're keeping like a nice harmonising feel. All right, we've got clean water. Again, important, especially when we're going to paint this water. So you need clean water. This is probably about the fourth lot of clean water that I've used. And then I'm going to just dampen underneath, not right up to there, just about here, just with clean water. And I've done that because I want the paint just to merge very slightly. But I've kept that section dry because I want to actually have a bit more depth in there. So that's the reason why. So I just swap into a little bit bigger brush, give it a wash, and then I'm going to pick up some of the colour that I used yesterday and load the brush. And this is important, is don't just put a little bit of paint on the end of your brush. Load your brush so that it feels heavy with paint. And the reason why is that you won't be going backwards and forwards, picking up new paint. The paint's starting to dry and you're getting lots of marks, whereas you can just nearly paint it all in one go. So I'm going to leave a little bit of light in that background. So just leaving the paper. And I'm just bringing this down. I'm going to just get my other brush and just soften this like we did the mountains, really. And a little bit maybe underneath here. Bringing that down. And then I'm going to just soften again here. And why I'm softening it is because I'm going to probably put some grasses and I don't want it to be too dark. And then with my smaller brush, I'm just going to pick up some stronger colours that I've used in the trees. So a little bit of the burnt sienna, and all of this is explained with the material list in the project. So if you fancy having a go and you'd like a little bit of feedback as well on your painting, I'm just popping this through just a touch stronger. And then I'm going to get the rigger brush, which we used the other day as well, which is this brush. And I'm going to get a little bit of darker colour. So some of the burnt sienna. Just catching a little bit of that darker right underneath there. And then thinking about where the trunks are, maybe of the trees might have a little bit of reflection coming down. And again, just here. That might just slightly go around a little bit more. So it's just, as you can see, it's just slightly fanning out is the mix, and that's because it's going into wet paper. So I'm going to mix up a little bit stronger, so less water, stronger pigment. Just going that down. Again from there. So this is still wet. As long as it's wet, you can keep painting into it. It's when it starts to dry that we get a few problems. So I'm just going to go a little bit stronger into a little bit of this foliage. I just want to sort of feel like it's just there a little bit. Right, and then I'm getting this brush, which is a synthetic brush, a flat synthetic brush, and I'm going to wash it, and then I'm going to take out the water. So squeeze the water with my fingers, so what I get is this gorgeous sharp edge, and we're going to create a ripple in the water, and all we're going to do is just do that. And then I'm going to wash the brush again because I've picked up paint on the brush. And we're maybe going to have just another little ripple, maybe just in here. And there we go. That's all that I'm going to do. I'm going to let it dry and then come back and then paint a few little grasses. Right, so the paper is dry, and I've just very lightly sketched a couple of little, as though there may be stones into, just into here, maybe one there, and I'm just going to pull the original picture across, and as you can see, I put another little bit of colour on here, and we've got the stones and some grasses. I'm probably not going to put as much in on this little picture that I've done. As you can see, this is a bigger piece of paper, and it lends itself quite nicely to a square. So if you want to have a go at painting in a square format, you can see that it works quite well. Right, so painting some stones, and I'm going to first of all put a lighter wash on. So I'm going to use the colour that I've used already, just painting a few, maybe in this little bit, and just popping these through. And then I'm going to get some real dark while this is wet. So that went on dry paper, but wet paint for the stones. And then I'm going to get some lovely dark again. It's a lovely thing to do is to paint, and I think painting water as well, it is really enjoyable. So just maybe having a little bit there, tiny little bit maybe coming there. Touch of reflection underneath as well. You never quite know how it's going to work out. And then I'm just going to soften that reflection. As though there's a few tiny little ripples in the water as well, of just that different tone of colour. I'm going to go a touch darker, even darker than what I've put on already. See, I think that just has helped the stone there, just giving it that bit more roundness to it, a bit more definition. So a little bit more paint. So it's all still wet. There we go, we've got a few little stones. And then another secret little tip, I'm just going to take off a little bit of the colour. So I'm sort of just scratching this back. There we go. And I think finally, I'm just going to put in a few little grasses. I think we just need something in here. So I'm using the rigger again. And I do hope that you're enjoying this and that you find it useful. And if you'd like to do my online course, you can just see the details. It's just at janeward.co.uk, and then if you follow the links to the online course. It's fantastic seeing people's paintings as well and seeing how they paint, and we all have different styles and we all see things differently. Right, pop a little bit of lighter in this as well. And I think we're not far off. Scratch out again. And then I'm just going to do one final little tip. So the final little tip is using a touch of gouache. So it's white gouache, and I'm going to use just the rigger brush again. And here we go. Just have a tiny bit of gouache there. Just bring a little bit of light into these little grasses in the front. And it's just sometimes these little tiny finishing off touches that can just pull your picture together. And with the online course, I do the feedback, and sometimes it might be just these little things that you just need just to pull it together, that just needs adding. And I think we're just about there on that little picture. So it's just a small one, doesn't have to be a great big masterpiece. Take the tape off. You might wonder what this is. It was a little bit of paint that I had on the paper, but I'll get rid of that by just cropping it, and we don't do it. And there we have it. Blea Tarn on an autumn morning, a few little trees, little stones, and the water. So I hope you've enjoyed this little demo, and look forward to hopefully hearing from you for the online course. Or if you want to just subscribe to the videos that I put up, that'll be great. All right, thank you. Happy painting.